Hey, what's going on, guys? This is me, Ivan Yosifov, and welcome to another tutorial using Python and Pygame. Today I'm going to show you how to create a simple memory game. So let me show you what we're going to be building together. So as you see, we have these tiles, and when we match two, they stay open. So when we go through a level, we can press space and we'll get 4 more tiles. There are total 5 levels, and with each level we get 4 more tiles. And of course, with every level it will get harder and harder. So okay, this. No, this. Okay, and as you see, we have basically 2 controls. We have a background, and this is actually a video. So we can stop it, or we can turn it on, and also we get music that we can pause and unpause. So pretty much this is the game that we'll be building. There are 5 levels in total, but you can add more levels if you want to. And with after the final level, the game starts over again. So the good thing about this thing is that we'll be creating this game using object-oriented programming, and also we'll be using some tricks for the tiles, I mean these images, and also for the timing. So when we click 2 images, we cannot click another one until the 2 tiles are not hidden. So that way we're giving the user a chance to look at the tiles before he can open another one. Okay, and yeah, I guess when you click too fast, something bugs out. Anyway, this is the game we'll be doing, so let's go ahead and get started. So I'll create a new folder called game, and here I'll create 4 folders. So one will be for fonts, so these are the 4 different types of assets we'll be using: fonts, images, video, and sounds. And the video is just this this background video, that rotating earth that you saw. So for the font, we'll be using this one, little alien. For the images, from this music blue icon pack, we'll be using the play button. Let me see. And we'll be using the 32 pixel images. We'll be using also the stop button. And for the sound, we'll be using this one. And for the mute, we'll be using this one. Okay. So we've got the play button, the stop button, the speaker, and I'll call this one mute. Now for the aliens, I chose a couple of images from this alien UFO pack, and all the links where I'm downloading the resources will be available in the description of the video, and also you can download them as a zip file from my GitHub account. All of them will be uploaded there. So I'm not going to be downloading them because I'll be downloading I think 12 images. Yeah, 12 images. So I have already pre-downloaded them, and they're all 128 by 128. And of course you can download whatever images you want. So I will place the images. I'll place the images in their own folder, because later when we are randomly selecting images, it will be easier. Okay, for the sounds, I'll be using this track, Cyber Attack, and this is from Pygame. Now a lot of people think that Pygame is just for images and videos, but you can also download music as well. And I will save it as BG music or background music. And finally, again from Pygame, I'll be downloading this video of the rotating Earth. So I really like it, and the good thing is that it's free to use. And I'll be downloading this dimensions 1280 by 720. And I'll call it just Earth. Okay, these are the resources we'll be creating. The last thing is I'll create my main Python file where we'll be writing all the logic for this game. So I will open this this file in my editor, and I'll be using the Mu editor. So you're free to use whatever editor you like. I just like it very much. Now we'll be using two packages that are not part of Python. One is of course the Pygame package, and for the video we'll be using a special package to play the video called OpenCV. So if you're using Mu editor, when you click the cogwheel down here and go to the third-party packages, you can import the packages that you want. So you need to import OpenCV-Python and also Pygame. So you need these two packages in order to play the game. Yeah, if you're not using Mu editor, you need to open the command prompt and type pip install Pygame, and I already have it. And the other one is pip install OpenCV Python. And as long as you have these two packages installed, you're ready to go. And okay, I'll close this one because I already have it installed via the Mu editor. So of course in the beginning we need to import these packages, and the OpenCV Python package is imported using this one, CV2, which is for computer vision 2. We'll also be using two other packages. They are part of the Python language. So the one is random, and we'll be using this package to randomly selecting images from this aliens folder. And we'll also be using the OS package. We'll be using this package to read the names of all the files inside of the aliens folder. Okay. So we'll initialize the Pygame package, and in the end we'll quit the Pygame package, the Pygame program when it's over, and between these two lines we'll be writing the logic of the game. So the first thing, I will set the dimensions for the game window. So here we're creating a screen that will have these dimensions, 1280 by 860, and we also set the caption of the program. And this will be a memory game. I also predefined two colors that I'll be using inside of the game: white and red. And maybe black. The next thing I need to do is I need to set an FPS variable that will be taking care of how many frames per second the program will run. And I'll set it to 60. Now actually this game doesn't have animation beside the rotating Earth, and we need this pretty much for the rotating Earth, for the video. In order to play the video we need to set some frames per second. Otherwise the game doesn't have any animations on its own. So if you want to create this game without the video background, you're free to do that. Now our Pygame needs to have a game loop that will be executed a specific number of times per second. So this is our game loop. Currently it will run indefinitely as long as running is set to true. So we need to have some way to quit the game. And we'll be pretty much listening for this close button. So every Pygame window will have the close button up there, and we need to listen when this button is clicked so that we can quit the game. So here we're listening for all the events that are happening inside of the program, and if the event type is equal to Pygame quit, and Pygame quit refers to the close button, we set running to false. Therefore this game loop will finish and this command will execute. So if I run the program right now, here you see this is the close button, which corresponds to that Pygame quit event. So when I click it, the window closes. Now currently this while loop, this game loop will run really fast, and we want to make this loop to run a specific number of times, and currently I want it to run 60 times per second. So this means that this program will behave at the same speed on different computers. So in order to do that, we need to use this clock variable that we created and ticket passing the FPS variable. So this command will make sure that the game loop will be run 60 times per second. And another command we need to give it is to display the window, to update the window. Now this command will tell the program whenever there are any changes they need to happen. If we don't have that command, any changes that we make to the program will not be visible. We'll be just seeing that just a static screen, and nothing will be happening on the screen. So we need that command. Okay, let me just run it to see that, okay, there are no problems here. Now, usually when we're writing programs, we write the logic in here, inside of this game loop. But I want to do it in an object-oriented way. So I'll be creating a class called game. And inside of that class, I will be doing all the logic. So in here, I'll just be passing one simple command, and that will be the update method of the game class. Now, before we go there, I'm gonna initialize this game with the initialize method. So now when I create my game class, I'm not going to be passing anything to it. The game class will be using the screen variable, and that's pretty much it. Inside of the game class, I'll be creating all the logic for the game. So one thing that we need inside of the game class when we initialize it is a level. We'll have different levels. So naturally, when we initialize the game, we want to set the level to be 1. Now this self in front of the level variable makes this variable a class variable, which means I can access this variable outside of this method. And a little bit later, when we write other methods, you'll see that I'll have access to this level, to this variable, because I declare it as self or as class variable. So it's not contained only inside of this init method, but other methods also have access to that variable. Also, another thing we'll be looking for is when a level is complete. And in the beginning, when we start, the level will not be complete, because when we start, we'll start with the first level. So the first level will not be complete, it will be false. Okay, and a little bit later we'll be adding other variables here, other class variables inside of this init method. Now another method we'll have here is update. And update will be taking care of all things that are updating inside of the class. For example, when I click a tile and it flips over, this will be an example of an updating. Also inside of the update method, I'll be calling the draw method. So let me just pass it here. So the draw method I'll be using to draw all the images, all the texts, and also the video on the screen. So here will be all the drawing will be happening in here, and the updating will where all the action will be taken care. So inside of the update method, I'll pass the draw. I'll pass the draw function, and then I'll be using this update method of the game object to call it inside of the game loop. And of course I need to first create the game. And in here I'll be calling game update. So update, this is the method we'll be calling from the game object. Now inside of the game class we'll be taking care of listening for events. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass the event as a parameter to the update method. Now I can do this thing, I can grab this thing and pass it, but here I'm like doing it in the event loop and then I'm passing it again to the game update. So I'll just extract it as a game list, and I'll use this game list in here in the event loop and also pass it as a parameter to the game update function. So let me just run it. And here I pass event list now that I have it. Okay, and then there are no errors, so that's good. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do is actually I'll start with the drawing method. Currently the first thing we want to do is actually fill the screen. And I'll fill it with black, so when I run it, it's all filled in black. And if I fill it with red, for example, it's one of these colors that we defined here, and run it, it's all red. So I know this is working, I'll leave it to black. Okay, so inside of the game window there'll be a few texts that we need to show on the screen. But first of all we need to define our fonts. So I'll have two types of fonts: the title font and I'll be using this little alien.ttf, and the title font will be 44 pixels. I'll also have content font, and this will be 24 pixels. Okay, now when we have the fonts defined, I'll create the texts. Now the first text will be our title text. And this will just say memory game. The second parameter is the anti-aliasing, and that's usually always true. And the color will be white. Now when we create a text, what we need to do, we need to create a rectangle around this text so that we can better position it and manipulate it on the screen. So I'll create a rectangle around this title text. And inside of these parameters we can pass which part of this rectangle we want to grab. And currently I want to grab the mid top. So the mid top will pretty much the top, and I grab the let me just so if this is the title, we create a rectangle and the middle of the top is over here. So I grab this position and now I can position this point on the screen. So since I'm grabbing the middle of the top, the mid top, I know that I'll position it in the center. So here we need to pass two coordinates, the x and the y, and the x will be the center of the width. So I know that the center of the width will be the window width divided by 2, and on the y-axis I'll pass 10. And let me actually show it on the screen so that you guys see what's going on here. So in order to show text or images on the screen, we use the blit function, and we pass the text or the image and the rectangle. So here is the text that we showed, and we use here's the middle point of the text. So it's 10 pixels from the top, and on the on the horizontal axis it's in the center. Okay, we'll do the same with the other types of texts. We'll have the level text. This will show which level we're currently on. And for this we'll be using the content font. And we need to add the level. So, and again will be white. So this self level variable will be coming from here. So when we start the game, it will be 1. So it will say level 1. But then when we complete different levels, we'll increment it by 1. And again we need to make a rectangle around the level text. And again it will be the mid top. Again the center on the horizontal axis, and from the top I'll put it at 80. Okay, the next level will be the info text. It will tell us what we need to do. And this will be 120 from the top. These are missing parentheses. So these are the text on the top, and let me just split them. So here are the free texts, and we don't have any errors, so these are doing okay. Now, before we move to the tiles and everything, I want to actually set the UI. So another thing that we need to be drawing on the screen will also be the next level. So here at the bottom, when we complete a level, we're going to be showing a text, something like, the level is complete, press space for the next level. So we want to do this thing at the bottom. So I'll call this next text. So level complete, press space for next level. Now, when we reach the final level, the 5th level, we shouldn't be showing this thing because it will be wrong. When we reach the last level, we're just gonna say something like, congratulations, you win, press space to play again. So this text will be determined by whether we have reached the last level. So if the level is not 5, we'll be using this text. Otherwise, if the level is 5, we'll change the text here. Congrats, you won, press space to play again. So if it's not a level 5, we show level complete, press space. If the level is 5, we say congrats, you won, press space to play again, and we'll start the game again. And here, when we are blitting the text, actually we need to create a rectangle also for this one. So and again we'll take the bottom, because this text will be at the bottom, and of course it will be horizontally in the center, and from the bottom we use window height -40. So if I run it right now, actually it's not gonna show because we didn't blit it. So here's this text that appears. Now I want this text to appear only when the level is complete. I don't want this. I don't want to blit it unless the level is complete. So we have this level complete equals false. So here, before we blit this next text, we'll check if self level complete. If only this is true, because this is a Boolean variable, only if this is true, only then you need to print either this one or this one. So currently when we start the game, level complete will be false, so the text will not show, and that's what we want. Okay, now the last part of the UI that we want to show before we start dealing with the tiles is I want to show the controls for stopping, for pausing, unpausing the music, and also for stopping and unstopping the view background. So maybe first we'll start with the music. So here in our initializing method, we need to create a couple of class variables to handle the music. So first of all, we'll have a Boolean variable is music playing, and it will be equal to true. Like when we start the game, we want the music to be playing. And we need to load also the two images we'll be using. And for the sound we'll use the speaker. And use this convert alpha to load it faster. Like it's just a good practice to call convert alpha. And we'll have the sound on off where we'll be loading the mute icon. Now, for the control that will be showing either sound on or sound off image, we'll call it music toggle. And when we start the game, we'll set it to on because there will be music. And of course, we need to create a rectangle. Now, I want to place it in the top right coordinate. So, in the top right it will be 10 pixels from the right border, and from the top it will be 10. So, let me just blend it to the screen. So I'm gonna blend it over here. Or maybe in the end of the draw. It doesn't matter where you blend it. I just don't want to mix it with the text, because here we're blending the texts. I mean, here we're loading the texts. So here okay, it just doesn't matter. Put it here. So this one, and this is the rectangle around the image. Okay, and I misspelled images. So here's this icon, and currently when I click it nothing happens because we didn't try the logic. Now next I want to also add the control for the video. Video. Again, we have a boolean variable that will tell us if the video is playing or not. Then we'll load the two images. And one is play PNG. Okay. Now video toggle will hold either this image or this image, and in the beginning we'll start with this one, and then we'll create a rectangle around the video toggle image. It will be again the top right. And this will be 50 pixels from the right border, and again 10 from the top. So here are the two images, the toggle images that we'll be using to play music, stop music, and also for the video. Now, as you see, there isn't a lot of contrast between these blue icons and the black background. So I'm going to add a white rectangle under these controls. Now here, when I'm blitting the controls, before I blit them, I will draw a white rectangle under them. Now, to draw a rectangle, we need to pass the screen as a parameter, then the color, and then a rectangle. So window width minus 90, 0 for the y coordinate, so it will stretch all the way to the right border, and the width will be 100 and the height will be 50. And there we have this white background, so that they are more visible. Okay, now we need also to create the logic. So first I'll start with the music. So here in the initialize function, when we initialize the music, we need to load the music file. In our case, this is the BG music file. So Pygame has this mixer module that allows us to load, play, stop music. So when we start the game, we'll load the music and we'll immediately play it. Now if I run the program, as you see, the music is playing. And actually the music is a little bit too loud, so we can control the volume. With the set volume. And we can pass anything between 0.1 and 1. So I'll make it, let's see, 0.5. A little bit too much, to maybe 0.3. Okay, that's better. I'll leave it at that. But you can control it the way you want it to be. Now the next thing I need to do is I need to create the logic. When I'm clicking the speaker icon, I want to toggle the music on and off. So here, when I'm calling the update function, inside of it I'm calling the draw function, which takes care of drawing all the text, all the images, and a little bit later all the tiles. They'll be drawn. They'll be inside of this draw function. But also, besides the draw function, I want to have a function that will catch the user input and do something with it. For example, when we press the spacebar, when we click on an image, or in our case, when we're clicking on one of these toggle icons, I want to have a way to to catch that logic, to catch the user input and do something with it. So here inside of the update function, I'll be calling user input function, and of course I need to create it. Now the user input will get as a parameter this event list that we pass from the game loop. So this game, that should be event list. So when we're passing the event list to the update function, I will grab this event list and I'll pass it as a parameter to the user input. So inside of this function, I will listen for all the inputs that the user will be making inside of the game, whether it will be pressing keyboard keys or using the mouse. It doesn't matter. I'll be listening for all of them inside of this function. So the first thing I need to be listening for is when I click this icon. And actually, let me just stop currently this one, because we'll be running the problem a lot of times, and I don't want this thing to be playing all the time. So inside of this user input, we'll run a event loop. And of course we need to pass it. Now, if I want to listen for when the user is clicking on that speaker icon, I need to be listening for our mouse click event. So if the user clicks the mouse button, print high. So when I run this one, okay, something is, and this should be double T. So when I click with the mouse button, I'm getting this high variable. Now what I want to do is, only when I click this icon, and only when I click it with the left mouse button, because right now if I click with the right mouse button, I still get high. Now this thing listens for all mouse buttons, but I want to listen only for the left mouse button. Now if I want to listen for the left mouse button, I need to grab also this event button to be equal to 1. Every time you click the left mouse button, this event button will be equal to 1. If you click the right mouse button, it will be 3, and for the mouse wheel, if you click it, it will be 2. So this thing now will print high only when I click the left mouse button. I'm clicking the right mouse button and the mouse wheel, but nothing happens. So that's good. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to see if the user clicked the speaker icon. And Pygame gives us a very convenient method to check when the mouse cursor coordinates are colliding with a rectangle. Now we have a rectangle around this music toggle, so I'm gonna check this one. If self music toggle rect, and the function is collide rect, and here I pass the mouse pointer coordinates, and to get the mouse pointer coordinates we use pygame mouse get pos print OK. Rect style. Oh, sorry guys, this is not collide rect, this is collide point. So I'm clicking with the left mouse button anywhere on the screen, but as you see nothing is happening here. But when I click this icon I get OK. That means I'm clicking on the right image. So what I want to do when I click on this image? Well, first of all I want to check if the music is player. If the music is playing, I want to stop it. Is music playing? Equals false. Now the music toggle will be equal to self sound off. So this will change the icon. The icon will not be the speaker but the mute icon. And the last thing is I need to actually pause the music. So let me start the music here and let's see if this will stop playing the music. And it does. So this is working. Now if the music is not playing, I'm gonna set this thing to true. I'll change the icon to sound on. This will be the speaker icon. And I need to unpause the music. Unpause. So now our toggle functionality for the music should be working. And we're stopping it, and now I'll unpause it. Okay, so this thing is working. Now the next thing we need to do is do the same thing but with the background. Now the thing with the background is things actually kind of bit difficult. So unfortunately the new version of Python of Pygame removed there was a module inside of Pygame that allowed to play video files, but they removed it. So currently one of the ways to play video files is to use this OpenCV package, CV2. Now what CV2 does is it reads the whole file. So it will read this whole file and it will store all frames, because ultimately files are they consist of consecutive frames that are played really fast, one after each other, and that gives the that illusion that this the action is happening simultaneously. But these are just a bunch of frames that are played really fast, one after each other. I'm not sure if that makes sense, but if there's something that you don't understand, you can ask in the comments. What you need to know is that this package will convert this video file into a bunch of frames, and then it will read each frame and just print them. And this is what we'll be doing. Now, let me see here. So here we're creating the controls, but what we want to do is we want to read this file first. Now, in order to read the file, I'll create a helper function inside of the game object called getVideo, and this helper function will take care of a couple of things. First of all, I will capture, so to call, the video, and here's where I'm using this function from this package. Now this was in the video, Earth, MP4. Now when we capture the video, I need to read it. This means I need to grab all the frames inside of this variable. Now when we read the captured video, this will return two values. The first value will be a Boolean variable. It will be either true or false, and it will say if it has successfully read the captured video. And the second one will be a list of all the frames from the capture. So if this is true, I can safely use this variable. So what this thing represents actually is something called NumPy array. And NumPy is a Python package that gives us better, so to say, better arrays. And this array contains inside array of frames. So all frames are represented as arrays inside of one big array. And each frame has the dimensions of the frame and also the image itself. Now the next thing also we need is the shape, and we'll get it from the image, and this will get the shape of each frame. The shape will be, I believe, 1280 by 720. So it's this one. This will be the shape. So I'll use this function to capture the video, break it up into frames, and then use them. Now, in order to show them, here in the draw method, maybe here before the text, we need to check if the video is playing. So if the video is playing, I'm gonna iterate over this array of frames. But before I iterate over the array of frames, I need to make sure that actually the video was read correctly. So I need to make sure that success is true. So if success is true, I need to blit each image, each frame from the captured image. Now let me write it down and I'll explain it. So we're using this function Pygame image from buffer because these images are, the frames are represented as not exactly sure how they're called, but stream of bytes. So they're not exactly images like the images that we have been using. They're like represented with bytes, and we need to convert those bytes into an image. So we need, of course, to get the dimensions of each frame, and that's why we have this shape. And we also pass this BGR, which is blue, green, red. And the reason why we're passing blue, green, red and not red, green, blue is because the CV package that we use to read, to capture the video and break it up into frames uses this color scheme. It's not red, green, blue, but blue, green, red. So that's why we need to set it as blue, green, red. And then we pass, the rectangle. So I don't want the image to start from the top. I want it to start from the left, but I want to move it from the top 120 pixels. And you'll see in a minute why. Now, if there is no success, if there is some sort of okay, this is probably getting a little bit messy, but what I want to do is when the video stops playing, because when getVideo is called, it will read the whole video and iterate over each frame, but when the video is over, success will be equal to false. Like, image will be empty. We have iterated over all the frames. So I want to restart the video. So in a way I want to loop the video so that when this is over, when all the frames are exhausted, I want to read it again. So if there is no success, that means the frames are over. I need to get them again. And I hope this will work right now. Actually, let me guys stop the music because it's gonna get annoying in a while. Line. So here in the drawing method, we're calling this self-success, but we haven't called the getVideo. So what we need to do is here in the update function, we're going to check if the video is playing. And if it's playing, we won't set the success variable and the image variable. Okay. Here's no attribute cap. Okay, so here, when we initialize the, not the music, when we initialize the video, we're gonna call this function getVideo. So we'll get the video, which will initialize these variables cap, success, image, and shape. And then inside of the update function, we'll check if the video is playing, and if it's playing, we'll read again these variables, and then we'll draw them on the screen. Okay, so now this thing is working. So the next thing we need to do is make the logic for the play and pause button for the video. So here, inside of the user input, we'll create another self, what is that thing? Self video toggle. Now is video playing? Actually not. We need to check whether it's collided with the... If the user pressed this icon, the video toggle rect. Let's see if this thing is working actually before. Okay, when I press it I get okay, so okay, so this is correct. Now, first of all, we need to check if the video is playing. If the video is playing, I want to stop the video playing. And change the icon. Else, if the video is not playing, I'll set is video playing to true and change the icon. Self play. So I'm changing the icon over here. Okay, let me see if this will change the icon actually. And as you see, the icon changes in here. Now when I stop the video, you see it disappears, nothing happens. So this is the last thing we need to fix before we move to the tiles. So when we're drawing the video, we're checking if the video is playing, and if it's playing but success is false, that means we need to loop it, so we get it again. So this takes care of playing the video and also looping the video. Else, if the video is not playing, we just want to show the last frame that we stop. So I'm going to copy this line here. Paste it here. So this will show just the current frames that when we stop the video. And it freezes. So when I turn it on, I unpause it. So just like with the sound, I can pause and unpause it. So there's Africa, and when I play it, it keeps on playing. So this thing is working right now, and the music is not playing because we commented out the playing of the music, but we'll turn it on in the end. Okay, so actually the last thing we need to do is show all the tiles over here. Now before we show the tiles, I'm gonna create a tile class that will encapsulate inside of itself all the properties of the tile, also all the functions that we want to use with the tiles. Now, actually, before we continue, I forgot to tell you something, guys. While I was creating this game, I had a lot of problems making this video file play, and in the beginning, actually, this code didn't work. Even when I used the OpenCV package, even when I used these functions to capture the video, then read the video, get the shape and play it, that thing didn't play. And the reason for that is that I was using an older version of Python. So if the video is not playing, like, make sure you're using a newer version of Python, like update your Python. If you're using Mu, like, the latest version of Python comes with the latest version of Mu, I think. Actually, I reinstalled Mu, and when I reinstalled Mu, I was using a different version. Currently, I'm using this 1.1.0, but I was using an older version of Mu, and when I updated Mu, it also updated the Python language, and that's when I started seeing the video playback. So just so you guys know, if you're having problems with the video is not visualizing, probably you need to update your Python. And also I forgot to tell you about this thing. Here when we're printing actually let me show you. Now we're filling the screen with black, but I'll put it with white and see what's going to happen right now. So you see there's a white padding on the top and a little bit on the bottom, and that's because these are the real dimensions of the video. The game screen is bigger in height than the video height. So what I did is, like, I gave it, the x coordinate is 0, so start from the left, like it starts from the left, but from the top starts from 120, so 120 from the top. I pretty much moved the whole image a little bit down, so it doesn't have a lot of, so it's more centered, because here in the top we have the text, and I just want it to be a little bit down, and that's why I put it. If I put it at 0 here and run it, you'll see it's at the top, and then we have this bottom, but it's kind of like not centered, so that's just for positioning purposes. So I'm placing it at 120, and let me change this to black. And there we have it. Like, things are working as expected. Okay, so for the tiles, now when I'm creating a tile, I'll be passing the name of the tile. So if I want to create a tile with the first image, I will pass 1.png. So this is the name of the file. Then if I want to create a tile for the second image, I'll pass 2.png. So passing the name of the files, and then the tile class will take care of, like, creating the image for us. So the game will be passing these names to the tile class, and the tile class will be creating the images for us. Okay. Now the tile class will be holding an image inside of itself, so it will inherit from Pygame sprite.sprite. And when we inherit from the sprite, we automatically get a couple of methods which will be part of the tile, like for example the update method, the draw method, which we'll be using. So in the initialize function, as I said, we'll pass the file name and also the x and the y coordinate of the tile. Now each tile will have x and y because we'll be using this to position it on the screen. Now since we're inheriting from the sprite, I'll call the initialize method of the sprite class. Okay. Now the name of the tile will be equal to this file name that I pass, and the file name, as I said, will be in the format 1, I mean the name of the file plus the extension, but I don't want the extension, I want just the name. So file name, I'll split it on the dot because the dot separates the name from the extension, and I'll get the first, which is the name. So this will get the name and 1 will get the extension, but I don't need the extension, just the name. Now when you saw the game being played, you saw that we're printing either the image or a white rectangle. That means that the image, the tile image, will have two states, so to say. One will be the original image and the other one will be the white rectangle. So before I create the image variable, I need to create two variables that will hold these states. So the first one will be the original image. And this will be from images, aliens, and the file name. So the file name will be the name plus the extension. Now the second one will be the back image. And the back image will be, it won't be a back image per se, it will be just like a white rectangle, but I'm calling it a back image. And again, I'm gonna load it. But also I'm gonna draw a rectangle around it. So this is the image. The color will be white. I'll get a rectangle around the back image. And if you pass a fourth parameter, for example 2, that will be the border, but if you don't pass, the whole image will be solid color. So in this case it will be a solid white color. Okay, and then I'll have an image variable that will be equal to the back image. So when I'm changing the back image for original image, this image will change its state. It will either show the image or a white rectangle. And when I start the game, I want to show the back image or the white rectangle. Again, we're gonna add a rectangle around this image. And I'll get the top left coordinate. And I'll pass the x and the y. And they'll be passed as the file name to the tile. Now, another class variable I want to create is called shown, it will be equal to false. So this variable will say if the image is face down or face up. If it's shown equal to false, means it's face down. If it's true, it's visible. We can see the image. Now when we inherit from the sprite class, we also get the update method. And all I'm going to do in the update method is check if the shown is true or false. And if it's true, I'm going to make the image refer to the original image. If it's shown, it will show the back image. So if self shown is equal to true, show the original image. If self shown is equal to false, set the back image to the image. So the image will be either original image or the back image, depending on this variable. And I'm also going to create two helper functions. One will be show, which will set the shown equal to true, and height so these two functions will be in a way they will be flipping the image. This will flip the image face up, the show function, and the height function will flip the image face down. And inside of the tile class, this is pretty much everything I need. And let me just run it to see that there are no problems with the tile class. Okay. So here inside of the game class, when we initialize the game, here we are loading the music, initialize video, but we also need to so to say initialize the aliens. Now first, what we want to do is I want to create an array of all the names inside of that directory. So I want to grab the names of each file inside of the aliens folder. And I'll call them all aliens. Now in order to read them, we'll be using this OS package. And let me just actually print them to see if this thing works. Self all aliens. Okay, and this is path. And there we have an array of all the images. So this line here, it reads all the images inside of this directory, gets the file name, and creates an array of all the file names. Now to position the images, we also need a couple of helper variables. The width of the images, and I'll just hard code these ones. And these are the dimensions. every image is 128 by 128, as you see. So I'm just gonna hard code them inside of here. Also, when I'm showing the images, I want them to have a padding between each of them, and it will be 20 pixels. Now, also, I don't want them to start from the top because they'll be text. I want to have a like a margin at the top where they should start be where they'll start showing. So, and I'll make it 160 actually. Now there will also be rows and columns, and the first level will have 8 images, which will be 4 columns and 2 rows. And the width will be 1280, and this is the width of the game window here. Now, when we're using a class that inherits from the sprite, we cannot just add these classes or the objects that we create from these classes directly to the screen. These objects needs to be added to a group, a sprite group, in order to be shown on the screen. So I'm also gonna create a tiles group, and then I will populate this tiles group with the tiles I'm generating. Now, the last thing I want to do here is take care of flipping and timing. Now, when I click an image, it will flip, but if I click 2 images that are not the same, I want them to flip over, and I also want to give them some sort of timing so that they don't flip over immediately. I want the user to see them for maybe a second before they flip over. And while these images are visible, I don't want the user to be able to click other images and to see what's under them. If the images are different, he shouldn't be able to click other images and flip them over until these different images are flipped over. Hopefully that thing makes sense. So I'll create an array or a list, empty list of the ones that are flipped, and I'll be checking these flipped images in here. I also create a frame count variable that will count how many frames these images are flipped over, and after 1 second I will flip them face down, and you'll see how this thing works in a second. And when 2 images are flipped and are visible, I want to block the game. If they're different, I want to block the game so that the user cannot press anything on the screen and flip other images. So that's why I'm using this boolean variable block game, so that I can block the game from clicking other things. And the last thing I want to do in this initialize method of the game is I want to generate the level. So generate level, first level. And I'll pass the self level. So self level, when I start the game, will be equal to 1. So this will generate the first level, and of course I need to create this function, generate level. Okay, now, so in order to generate a level, I need to do three things. First of all, so the first level will contains four images. So I need to randomly select 4 images. Then I need to duplicate these images because they need to be 2 by 2. For example, if I select this one, I need to create a copy of this one because I need a second one, because when I match the games I need to match the same images. So the second thing is to duplicate these images, and the third one is to generate the tile set. That means generate the rows and the columns that will be visible on the screen. So I'll randomly select the aliens. So this is another helper function I need to create. Select random aliens. So this self all aliens contains an array of all the file names. So the random sample function accepts two parameters. One is the array and the other one is how many you want to create. And if you're wondering what's going on here, so the first level is 1. 1 plus 1 equals 2, and 2 plus 2 equals 4. So each level I'll add 2 more. So the first level will grab 4 and then duplicate it, of course, to become 8. The second level will become 2 more. So if the second level is 2, 2 plus 2 is 4, plus 2 is equals 6. So the fourth level will grab 6 aliens. The third level will be 3 plus 3 is 6, plus 2 is 8. So the third level will grab 8. It will grab 8. Then the fourth will grab 10, and the fifth level will grab all the 12. So that's what's happening. So random sample will randomly select from a list a specific number of items from a list. So that's what's happening, aliens. Now when I get the aliens, I need to also create a copy of these, because I need to have duplicates of these aliens. And then I need to combine them. And the last thing I want to do, so this aliens extend aliens copy will get the ones from the copy and add them to the aliens. So for the first level, aliens will be 4, aliens copy will be 4, and aliens, when we extend it with aliens copy, it will be 8. And each one will have a duplicate. And the last one is to shuffle this array of this list. And of course, the last one is we need to return. And let me actually check this thing. Generate level. So let's not battalions. So we're passing the level. We're passing the level, and then we make sure we get appropriate number of aliens per level. And that's a mistake. So I've got 7, 3, 2, 3, 7, 1. So they're random, and I can see like 1 and 1 are duplicates, 2 and 2 are duplicates, 3 and 3 are duplicates, 7 and 7. So if I run it again, I have different ones. So I have 10 and 10, 1 and 1, 2 and 2, 7 and 7. Okay, so that thing is working. So when I select the aliens, now we need to convert them into, make them into a tile set. Now, we'll be using this function, generate level, for when we complete each level. So one thing I want to make sure is that I make level complete equals to false. And also, I want to make sure that the rows are equal to the level plus 1. Like I said, for each level, so the first level will have 2 columns. The third level will have the second level will have 3 columns. So you need to, the number of levels plus 1. So each level will have 1 more rows. Now the columns will always stay the same 4. And I'll make them here just for clarity. And the last thing I need to do is, of course, generate the tile set. So when I have selected the random aliens, I need to generate the tile set. Okay, so this function here, generating the tile set, was took me a while to write it. So I'll try as best to explain what's going on here. Now, the first thing I want to make sure is that when you reach level 4, the rows will be, actually the columns will get more than the rows, and the thing will start, actually the rows will get more than the columns. For example, for level 4, the rows will be 5, and there is no way to fit There's no way to fit 5 rows here because they'll start coming out from the bottom. So if the rows are more than the columns, I need to represent the columns as rows and the rows as columns, so that I always have maximum of 4 rows. So I can grow on width, but I cannot grow on height. And if I have more than 4 rows, they'll start overlap over here. They'll start showing over here. So this is the first thing I want to do. So for the first 3 levels, these will be the same. For the 4th and the 5th level, these will swap. The number of rows will be equal to the number of columns, and the number of columns will be equal to the number of rows. Now I want to make sure that the tiles are centered horizontally. So first of all, I need to get the width of the tiles. I mean of the whole tile set. So image width times the number of columns plus the padding times 3, because the width will not be more than the, so let me see, yeah. So the width of the row will be equal to the number of the column, the number of the tiles, times the columns. So if I have 4 columns, I will multiply it by the width of each tile. I will add the padding between these columns, and then this will determine the tile width of the row. This is the tile, yeah, the tile width of the row. Next, I need to take care of the right, how much will be the left and the right margin. They'll be the same. So self width, and self width is the width of the whole game window, 1280 minus the tiles width divided by 2. So the tiles width will be, if let's say the width, the whole width is 100 and the tiles width is 500, I will get left with 500 divided by 2. So the left margin will be 250 and the right margin will be 250. Then I'll create an empty array tiles. And before I generate the tiles, I'm gonna make sure that this tiles group is empty, because each level will generate a new tiles group, and when I reach the second, the third, I need to empty the tile set before I add the new tiles. So this will empty the tiles group, and then I'll be ready to add the tiles inside of it. So the aliens will be 8, so I need to iterate over all the 8 aliens, generate the tile, and add it to the tile group. That's all I'm doing in this for loop. And when we're generating the tile, we already have the file name, but I need to generate the x and the y coordinate of each tile. And so with a lot of trial and error, I came up with this thing. So the x will be equal to the left margin and pretty much I'm making sure that, so the first one will be 0, so it will start from the left margin and immediately start. But the second one, it will also add the width of the column, so to say. Hopefully that makes sense. Just think about it, and it really took me some time to write it, but it works. Now the y will be taking care of the vertical axis, so the first one will be just from the margin top. Okay, so yeah, the first one with the margin top, and then this will be equal to 0 because I is 0. But the second one, yeah, it will also be 0 because integer division. So the rows 2. So only on the fifth one, this will give me 1. So 0 till 3, this will give me 0, so this will not execute for the first 4. And then for the other 4, this will be equal to 1. I mean, this expression will be equal to 1. Anyway, guys, if there are any problems, let me ask in the description and I'll do my best to explain it. And then the last thing we need to do is create a tile. And add the tile to the group. And I don't think we need this. Let me just comment that. Actually run it and see what's going on here. Okay. So we don't have any mistake, any errors, so that's a good sign. Now we have generated the tiles, but we need to blip them to the screen. We need to show them. Now, as you guys remember, that tiles cannot be shown directly. They need to be shown through their group, and we group them inside of the tiles group. Draw, and this draw method, we didn't write it. It's part of the group object, and we need to pass the screen. So draw them where, and currently we want to draw them on the screen. Group, and call also the update. Again, we didn't write this method. It's part of the sprite group. Okay, and then we have the tiles. Now they are by default, as you remember, tiles are hidden. They're shown. They're not shown. Shown is equal to false, which means they are not shown. But if we change this to true, and here we have the images. So these two they're 2 by 2, and if I run it again, we've got different ones. So that's going great. Now we need to write the logic for checking if the level is complete. And here in the update method, after the draw method, I will write a check level complete. And I will pass the event list because I'll be listening for events here. Now, first thing I want to do is make sure that the game is not blocked, because if the game is blocked, I shouldn't be able to click on the tiles. So if the game is not blocked, I will run the event loop, just like I did in the user event function. And here I also want to make sure I'm listening for the left mouse button, the clicking of the left mouse button. And event button equals 1, this is the left mouse button. Now I'm going to iterate over all the tiles that are currently in the tiles group and see if the mouse clicks any of them. So for tile in tiles group, if tile, now each tile has a rectangle, as you see. So if the rectangle of the tile collide point, because we are checking if the mouse pointer collides with this rectangle. So event position is the mouse cursor. It's same as pygame.mouse.getPosition. If this collides with if we have clicked an image, I'm going to use this flipped array that I create in the initialize method. So this flipped array, I want to add it to the flipped arrays. Append, and I'm going to add the name of the tile. Now each tile has a name, so the name will be 1 or 2. These are the names of the tiles. So as you remember, I'm getting the name of the tile without the extension. Now if I flip the tile, I want to show it. So when I click a tile, I'll add it to this flipped array, but I also want to show it. And we already have this method, tile show. So tile show will set self shown equals to true, and then the update method will set the image to the original image. So not the white rectangle, but the original image. Now when I show the image, I want to do a few checks. First of all, I want to see if the flipped images is equal to 2. If there are 2 images in here, I need to do something. So if the length of flipped equals to 2, I want to first of all make sure that the 2 images are different. If this is different, and remember in here we have the name of the image. So if here, for example, I have 10 and 9, they're different. But if I have 10 and 10, they're the same. Now if they're different, I want to block the game. And when I block the game, I shouldn't be able, this code will not execute, so I cannot click on any of these images anymore. Now if the images are the same, first of all I want to empty or clear the flipped array so it's empty, so I can check the other ones. And then I want to iterate over all the tiles. And if the tile is shown, I'll set the level complete equals to true. Else equals to false. And then break. Now by default the level complete is equals to false. So when I iterate over all the tiles, and if every tile is shown, this level will be set to true. But if even one of the tile is not flipped over, level complete will be equals to false, and I know that the level is not completed. The level is completed when all the tiles are shown in the tiles group. Hopefully that thing makes sense. But what happens if the game is blocked? So if the game, here's the logic, if the game is not blocked, else what do we want to do? Now if the game is blocked, we want to use this frame count variable, and when we need to count and make sure that 1 second passes before we unblock the game, because when we block the game we don't want people to be able to click on other images. So the frame count, I will increase it by 1 and then check if the frame count is equals to FPS, and FPS is equals to 60. So if 1 second passes, now for each iteration frame count will increase by 1, and after 1 second frame count will be equal to 60. And then if this thing is 60 is equals to 60, I need to unbreak the game, so to say. So first of all, I'll set frame count back to 0. I'll set block game equals to false. So I'll unblock the game. And then I'll iterate again over all the tiles in the tile group and check if the tile name is flipped. So if the tile name is flipped, because remember, if the two images are different, I'm setting the block game to true, and the flipped will contain the two flipped images. When there are two flipped images, I'll check to make sure that they're different, and if they're different, I block the game. So I'll iterate over all the tile names in the flipped array, which will always contain two tiles, and hide them. And after I hide them, I want to make sure that I clear the flipped array. And let me check to see if there are no mistakes here. Okay, and first of all I need to make this to false, so they're not visible. So I can click on two and they flip back. Okay, press space for next level. What? Oh, this should be if tile shown. If tile shown, okay, let me try again. Okay, so this is working. Now I believe the last thing we need to do is make the logic for pressing the space bar, because right now when I press the space bar nothing happens, and I believe that'll be pretty much it, but let's try it out right now. So so here for the user input we're checking for the mouse events, but currently I don't want to check for mouse events, I want to check for keyboard, for the key down event. If a key is down, I need to check which sort of key is pressed. And to check for space, we use this one, event key equals to pygame.key.space. It's just the way it's written. And for the space event, I also want to make sure to check only if the level is complete. So if the level is set to true, so the first one I want to do is upgrade, increase the level. But if the level is greater than or equals to 6, now we don't have a 6 level, I'll make it equal to 1. So pretty much the game will loop from the beginning. So if I reached 5th level, I'll increase it to 6, but I don't have a 6th level, so I make it 1. So that pretty much will restart the game. And the next thing I want to do is generate the level. Okay. Let me try it with the music on now and see what's happening here. I'm pressing the space bar. Okay. As you see, things are working. I'm not going to be solving this level because I'm really bad at this game, but looks like everything is playing fine. The background, we can stop the background, pause the music, and that's pretty much it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this game, and if you have any comments or suggestions, let me know in the comments below. Thank you.